Tri-City Sports now, and I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to this on Marky Billson. Phil Mushnick, dating back to the days when he covered the Cosmos. And I know you got a lot of stories about that. You have to and such. But now, and for the last several years, he has been a media columnist for the New York Post. And what I really like about him is, in addition to the fact that many of the points he makes, I say, he's spot on. I like this, is that he seems to have fan interest at heart. Be it, hey, why don't you put the Saints game at 6 o'clock and the Chiefs game at 3 because it's going to be about 10 degrees warmer. One guy who I think looks out for the fan, but he is a media critic. And Phil Mushnick, a lot of people have been critical of Elizabethton's own Jason Witten. I don't know if you can really get on him yesterday when he dropped the trophy. I mean, the clumsiness is not a crime, perhaps, but one.
Just simply no one there to help him out, no one there to tell him to shorten things up, no one there to tell him that maybe he wasn't qualified for this job. I mean, starting on day one. But clearly, but this is symptomatic, Marky, of network television. You hire on a wish. And I think the wish with Witten is not going to come. And, that's the first thing with a modicum of knowledge about football is, wait.
I was freelancing it, if you must know, but nevertheless, I remember here, well, Phil Mushnick of the New York Post, I didn't see it either. I can forgive, pulling the rabbit out of your head or something. Okay, you misspoke. But I can't necessarily forgive, getting the telestrator wrong, identifying the right player or the wrong player, or saying that the Colts tight end and the Chiefs quarterback played with each other this year.
That was ESPN. Remember, ESPN hired Ray Lewis and still a primary suspect in a double homicide. I mean, what they hire him for? They found out a little too late that he couldn't speak an entire sentence that was decipherable. And what happened? They got rid of him, and then Fox hired him. So this is what these people. He's in an Witten's in an untenable position. He's in with this guy Tessitore, who seems like a nice guy, but he's in over his head. He's kind of ESPN systematically and sustainably creates. Let's see if we can reinvent the flat tire. People who hired him don't get it. Although there's some new structure up there. So what chance does he have? This was a shot in the dark, and but some shots in the dark work. Most don't. I mean, look who he's replacing. John Gruden would still be there talking his nonsense. His complete.
Like I said,
his idea of color analysts would say he's a great defensive player for this Washington Redskins National Football League team. That's filler. That's pure filler.
And that is actually a very good take on John Gruden as a color commentator. I mean, I can tell you, I don't remember anything really that noteworthy or anything that he would say. Whereas I could tell you that from back in the day, certainly a Cosell or a Dan Deerdorf, even sometimes the oft-criticized Frank Gifford could make a... Michael Irvin is another one, yes. What?
Mike Dick, if you will. And, listen, I'm from New York. These guys seem to get the first crack at everything, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not one to consider it to be a jingoistic thing. It's just, it's a familiarity thing. But familiarity should not breed contempt. And poor Jason Witten, he's thrown in the deep end without knowing how to swim.
We're talking to Phil Mushnick, New York Post. Hey, this is, I guess, my biggest fear. I think that right now it appears that ESPN, for their Monday Night Football booth, and hear what Howard Cosell had to say. Is the hope now that maybe you'll do that with Jason Witten, but in the most cynical of, oh, let's see if he calls, how he screws up this time? I mean, could we actually be going into that, and that is how they could be cynically...
I can't imagine that telecast could grow worse. I can't imagine. I mean, I'd let them speak. First of all, there's no reason to speak after every play. I don't need
something here, and it's Phil Mushnick of the New York Post, that 21, and I've theorized this. They're paying $1.9 billion. They're going to want to pay that kind of money when we hear about the layoffs and the cord cutting and such, and that Monday Night Football, which is now the last game, like you said, we're kind of done with football unless it's your team playing by the time Monday night. What with Sunday Night Football and 3 games on Sunday, that either it'll be, you know what, it had a nice run, but now it's Sunday Night Football is that national game, or the NFL Network will pick up.
That's tough to take. Here you have be concise, competent, credible, informative. Now he doesn't shut up 3 hours. But it just seems the saturation point has been hit with all this, with the primetime football games. And if there's nothing there for you, that's what I think distinguishes Tony Romo. He does talk too much there.
Mm-hmm.
He seems happy to entertain us, and he seems happy to be alert for us. Like 200 one time and 200 the next, something like that. Laid off, and you find out that they're spending God knows how much money for this rubber booger buggy, that thing that they put Booger McFarland in, for no good end, only a bad end, only to serve the absurdity of the telecast. I'd like to be that guy sitting home going,
yeah.
There's 2 years plus. He's sitting in 2 to 3 years pay of mine.
It's every employee. Memphis and Johnson City are kind of like Buffalo and New York City. I mean, it may be in the same state, but it's sort of like, are we really? That sort of thing. But I'll ask you this. I mean, one of the things, and their broadcaster, Jay Sandos, is a very close friend of mine. And what they will do, they will use their color comment or their sideline reporter, this sort of thing. And I think that was what they were trying to do with Booger McFarland. Sometimes it is a bit distracting on the ETSU broadcast, I'll tell you that, but it is something creative. So I'll ask you this. What do you think that the sideline reporter's role should be on a football broadcast?
Zero. There's nothing a sideline reporter can't convey the people in the booth without going to a sideline reporter. Most of the time now, as you see it, it's to show the national and the local networks, regional sports network, diversity. That's why, I don't know, if somebody's injured or if the field's wet, you have a sideline person, you go to the booth and say the field's wet, and then the person says the field's wet. Jones is in the locker room undergoing x-rays. Jones is in the locker room. You don't have to cut to anybody. Unless, of course, it's commercially sponsored. Now we go to the Royal Crown sideline report and Booger Jones.
He is Phil Mushnick. He's the New York Post. He's outspoken. But you know what? I always think he's Phil, I think
that the print media has abandoned its role. It's become, it was an old saying, your job is to afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted.
Mm-hmm.
And now everybody, I mean, the fact, you could see it like in little minuscule things, Marky. The NFL said, from now on, we're going to call off weeks bye weeks. Well, a bye week isn't an off week. A bye week is when you don't play because you're advancing in a tournament. But they said it's a bye week. Now everybody in the world calls it a bye week because they're compliant. I mean, look at a red zone. Nobody even knows what the damn red zone is. But everyone's reciting the stats. You know what the best red zone stats this year?
What is the best red zone stats?
Cincinnati Bengals.
Speaks volumes.
Stats.
So does Phil Mushnick. You know what? I will say this.
Go home, don't you? I am home. I'll hang up.
No. The print report. I got to go to break here. The print reporters did do one thing, though, that prevented one thing you're talking about.
And you got to kick a field goal. He burns his final time. What do you mean he burns it? He's intelligently using it.
Phil Mushnick, New York Post. I love the guy. We'll be back after this with where the Vols are ranked. I love it. We'll have to do one thing again. We'll have to do this again. This